Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Secrets for an Inspirational Life. How are you all today? I hope that you are well and peaceful wherever you are on this planet. Now, I was having a lot of conversations actually recently with people, and we were saying about a really interesting subject, which all of us, I think, have felt in our life at some point. And that is, how do we really find out who we are as people? And it may seem a strange thing to ask, but so many of us in our life ask this question. Who are we? What are we meant to be doing? Where are we meant to be going? And I think the common consensus is that it's a journey. Life is a journey of discovery. And we have to accept ourselves in our entirety and our truth. How do we do that? Well, first we start with what gives us peace and serenity. What lights that flame of passion for life? And that's something that we can find along the way, whether that's the people that we meet, the things that we do. And we have to be open, I believe, to truly having a look at life with open eyes, with an open heart, and with an open soul, and not to be too harsh on ourselves, and to look at it as really a road of discovery. And that's why today I have an incredible guest. I have the real pleasure of having the extremely wise and talented Dimitrios Raftopoulos. I've been practicing this name, I have to say, and he's going to correct it. I'm saying this about everyone. I don't know what's happened to me recently. And he's an actor, a filmmaker, a psychotherapist, and a relationship expert. Dimitri runs dating and relationship boot camps, as well as doing one-to-one coaching. He is the founder of The Fierce Feminine and The True Masculine. He's going to tell us all about that a little bit later. Dimitri is also a psychotherapist who works with a wide range of emotional and psychological challenges, helping individuals and couples of all ages find themselves, their true selves. And amongst all the things that he does, he's involved in social change through his films, because he's also a filmmaker. He's in the middle of writing a book. So many wonderful things that he does, and he's going to share with us today. And I'm really, really happy to have him on the show. So without further ado, welcome, Dimitri.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mimi.
It's a pleasure, a real pleasure.
Yeah, it's great to be here and to share all the wonderful things that you said that I'm doing. It's great when you hear them all read out. You think, wow, I'm a very busy man.
Yes. As I was reading it, actually, I thought, well, I know you've told me lots of other things, and I know you do lots of other things. And I thought, well, no, I'm not going to put it all. Otherwise, that.
Am I doing all that?
But you are doing incredible things, I have to say, Dimitri. So you're going to share that, aren't you? You're going to share today a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about how I actually started, how I became open and aware to what my mission is, what I'm here to do. And you talked about people finding how important it is for people to find what that is. And I realized that my work would be around, when I was training as a psychotherapist. Even before then, I was very interested in relationships. How do people get together? Why do they get together? The whole courting, dating, how that works, the difference between men and women. That kind of drew me into psychology. I did an honors in psychology as well. And then I went on to do a lovely 7-year psychotherapy training, which was fantastic. It was grueling, but I really then was able to understand at a much deeper level what makes us tick. Because I love, like you said before, I love observing people as well. I think to be a therapist, I think it's a good quality to have. Sitting in the coffee shop, watching people.
Yeah.
So
people watching.
People watching. Yeah.
One of my favorite pastimes, I have to say.
Oh, there's nothing like sitting in someone's and just watching people go by. So that really took me into what is going on, and I think the one thing that I spotted, something I saw when I was still living in Greece, was how men and women would go to bars, restaurants, or they'd go to, say, a bar, for example, and you'd see a lot of single people around. But what I noticed there, the men were not approaching the women, there was this interesting, so I wondered, that's interesting in terms of communication skills and what's going on there. And then coming to London, the guys couldn't stop chatting to enough women at the bar. So just these differences, in cultures and... But what happened one day, I was meditating, and after having worked with a lot of my clients, doing one-to-one sessions, I had a lot of women coming to me, career-minded women, intelligent women, beautiful personalities, lovely women, and they all had trouble in finding the right guy. There was this thing about, I've done everything I was supposed to do. I've studied, I've gone to university, I'm in a great job, I work out, I exercise, and these women, they look good. They were good-looking women. And I was like, but there was something getting in the way of them finding the man of their dreams. So I started looking into that. I started researching, and I read a lot of books, and I realized that the reason that a lot of women were not with the man they wanted to be was because somehow they were letting the man take the lead emotionally. And they were expecting the man to know things about relationships that they don't know. So they were giving the man the benefit of the doubt. They were waiting for Prince Charming,
I know a lot of people like that, actually.
You do? Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could help a lot of my friends. Yes.
Well, I hope I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
A knight in shining armour, really.
Yes. And then they would say, and then some of them would meet this amazing guy, and they would say, he's amazing, and he's taking me out, and we're having a great time. And then as they would get to the next stage, because relationships have these different stages. I said there's about 6 stages in a relationship to get to a place where you're really coupled and loved up and living together and deciding you want to go down the road of kids or marriage or not marriage and kids. And as they would get to the next stage of the relationship, where a more emotional way of relating was needed, a lot of these guys were struggling, and the women themselves didn't quite know how to deal with that, how to bring that up, or they would some would see it, but then either be afraid to challenge the guy about that. A lot of the men would just go, I'm not doing that. What's that? Why do we need to do emotions? So all this stuff was coming up. So seeing that and working with it, I kind of came to the realization that my work is based on the fact that relationships only work when women are leading emotionally. That's, so...
And what does that mean, actually, Dimitri?
Well, that means is that you have to take the lead in observing the man that you have met, and try. And it's not easy to do, but because if there's attraction, you're going to be attracted to him. He might be quite charming, as a lot of these Prince Charming men are. He's going to be quite seductive. He wants to, a man initially wants to be with you. He wants to, he wants to get you. He wants to, win you over, as I say. So he's going to be doing all this stuff and throwing all this charm and at you. And so what you have to be able to do, develop a skill as a woman, is how do you feel that? Go, wow, this is great. This guy's so attractive. But also hang on. How emotionally competent is he? What's he like with his feelings? Yeah? Yeah. So that's, how do you do that? How do you hold back and go, well, hang on, this was great. It's great that you're so interested in me and so into me and you want me and you're attracted to me and you desire me, because I think every woman wants to be desired. But what are you like when it comes to feelings? Because if we don't look at that, how are we going to go on to the next stage of the relationship? How are we going to bond? Yeah.
Right.
How yeah.
Now, so maybe, sorry, I want to ask you, going back a little bit,
yes,
maybe it would be helpful if, Dimitri, you could share these 6 stages, or just touch upon them, of the 6 stages of a relationship.
Right. So
that might be helpful.
Stage 1, you meet somebody, yeah, and you like their energy, have a good feel about them. The conversation flows. You're also attracted to each other sexually, yeah. So you go with that. You start dating, and you start getting to know each other, yeah. Kind of step 1. Step 2, you decide you've kind of so in step 1 you still kind of you're going, well, does this guy really want to be with me? Because we know that in the beginning, when it comes to heterosexual relationships, men in the beginning are very much testosterone driven, and it's difficult for them to control that, and they want to get you into bed, right? They want to have sex with you, yeah. And so you decide then, do I allow that to happen? Because if I allow that to happen, it creates a sexual intimacy. And if the emotional intimacy isn't quite there, that could be overwhelming for some women, yeah?
Yeah.
So stage 1, getting to know the guy, feeling the energy, deciding, okay, I'm going to go into the next phase. Stage 2, I then allow myself to be physically intimate with the guy. And because I've decided he's a guy he wants to be with me. So in the first stage, I've kind of decided, yes, he wants to be with me. I get that he's there for a relationship, Second stage, I get physically intimate, we're together. Third stage, now we're seeing each other on a regular basis. We're physically intimate. We're getting close. We're starting to get to know each other. We're opening ourselves up to each other. We're connecting on a deeper level. You want to see in that phase, is he opening up? Is he able to talk about his feelings, talk about his past experiences? Does he have that awareness? That's all there. We go on to the next stage where we decide, okay, maybe, we've been seeing each other for a while. We I don't know, a year and a half, maybe more. And we now want to live together. So then we decide to live together. And then that's another stage that other things will come up, living in close proximity, the space, how compatible are we? If we see that's all good, that's all going well, then we can, then a couple can go on to deciding, okay, this works, we're compatible. Why don't we think about having kids if they want to have kids, have kids. Some couples then get married or not. So those are the basic stages. I've labeled them as 6, so my clients can have a way of understanding that this is going to go somewhere. And, in the case of women, if you want to meet a guy and you want to go to all those stages, you want to get to the final stage, and you've got to be thinking about that kind of, not straight away, but you want to be thinking about, is this guy going to match up to that? Can he do all that?
Yes. Now, the issue is that I found with clients of mine, but also friends and that. I have one particular friend, and she's always stuck at stage 2. So once she's had the intimacy with somebody, they don't want to know, or she doesn't want to know. So it begins with, well, actually, I like you and we like each other. But then they never move from that stage because she finds that the men are actually emotionally, she calls them, unavailable. And she also is unavailable. So what is that, Dimitri, that so many people seem, I don't know what your experience is, but so many people are stuck in that second stage?
Yes, that's a great question. So this is why, as I developed the workshops, I started realizing that conditioning, our conditioning, our programming, what we've experienced in our childhood, and also it can be family conditioning. I've labeled it into 3 categories to make it easier. So it's we go through our family conditioning, we go through cultural conditioning, and we go through social conditioning, how we're socialized. So on day 1 of the workshop, that's what I do. We look at that, we go through that, and I allow women to talk about their conditioning and understand how has that conditioning created blocks inside them, emotional blocks, that stops them from being able to stay in an intimate space. Because what is intimacy, emotional intimacy? It's about being able to be vulnerable, isn't it? It's about being able to be with someone in a space where you receive something good, you receive good energy from them, and you share good energy, It's about holding each other in a container, right?
Yeah.
And usually I find it links back to that, it links back to early wounding, that the person is not usually aware of. This is the thing. So what will happen is that the minute, like your friend, for example, she does stage 1, she's great, she gets to stage 2, there's physical intimacy, they're intimate, and then, the kind of honeymoon period maybe has gone, the initial period of dating and that fun, and, go out, it's great, and then suddenly they settle into, okay, now it's the 2 of us, Now we've got to kind of get to know each other. Now we've got to be with each other. So if there's early stuff, early wounding around that, in those 3 categories that I mentioned, then it's what it'll do is, if you're not aware of it, it's going to come up. It'll disguise itself in fear, and there'll be a shutting down, and then the 2 people will just separate because they can't quite be in that.
Yes, the shutting down. Because what she does is she'll say, he doesn't ring me, he doesn't call me at the times that I want him to, and he doesn't do what I want him to do, so I am now kicking him away from me. And every single person, she does that to. And I said, well, why don't you just, forgive them and work past that? I don't want to, because he has to prove it to me. And she won't give this chance for it to happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, does she speak to the guy? Does she tell him how she's feeling? Does she say, I feel this way, I don't feel that would be,
yes,
and give the guy a chance? Or does she just, like you say, is it that she sees things, doesn't like them, and then waits until he's done them a few times and then just kicks him out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, she does try to talk to them, but the interesting she does. But the thing is, it's like 2 chances and you're out, and I think it's unreasonable. But what's interesting is, because I know you're going to talk about the fierce feminine also, that she didn't, up until about a month ago, accept her femininity, and suddenly she's now dressing up to go to work. She's dressing like a lady, and something has changed about her. And she said, do you know what, Mimi? I am going to now be a lady. I said, but you're a lady anyway. She said, well, yes, but I wasn't acting like a lady, and it's time that I acted like a lady. And now I'm going to find a real man, and just not, these people that are just not, up to the mark. And I found that interesting. So when you're going to talk
interesting,
yes, your fierce feminine, I thought, I wonder, then I wondered, is that really about really accepting who you are as a woman? That's the issue in all of it, because she was really not accepting that at all. She just wanted to be one of the lads and, and fit in, but was afraid of her femininity, is what she said to me.
Well, it's very interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, and I think I understand when women say they're afraid of their femininity or their feminine side, because the feminine side, you'll agree with me, is the softer side, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's much easier. It's much safer. Let's put it this way. And for a woman in our society to be in a guarded position, isn't it? To be like more in a fiercer kind of guarded position. I'm not going to let you in because you might hurt me, And also, we know what women have been through throughout the ages. I mean, we don't have to go into that. We know how much, that's beautiful what she said, that she's actually scared of her feminine. Because here's the thing, and this is so important, that a woman will not allow herself to be in her softer feminine side unless she feels that she can be fierce. So unless she has developed strong enough boundaries to protect herself, it's going to be difficult to slip into the softer feminine. Because remember, the softer feminine is the more sensual side. It's the more inviting side. It's very powerful, that energy. Also, when I work with women and they go into their feminine side, into their sensual side, after we've done the more fierce boundaried work, the men run after them. It's like it's such a beautiful energy, that it's so powerful, so attractive. So I get when your friend says that I'm scared, because she's taking a risk. It's beautiful. So it's about being able to developing the fierce side, the assertive, where the minute you allow yourself as a woman to slip into your softer, sensual, flirty, side, that if a guy does, if he gets too excited, men get so excited, and he starts getting into your space, and he's not bounded enough, you can then go from the soft feminine into the fierce and go, and into the fierce assertive and go, hey, Buster, relax. What's up? You're getting a bit crazy. I know I'm gorgeous, but just take it easy, sit back a bit.
Like the lioness, isn't it, Dimitri, with the lion?
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's funny you mentioned the lioness, because there is a beautiful video on YouTube that I always play in my workshops. And there's this woman that does similar work to me. She's done a TED talk about the fierce feminine. I'll send that to you. And actually, she says that when you go, if there's a tribe of if there's a lioness with her cubs, right, and you walk just in the perimeter of where she feels it's threatening, she might just let out a little sound, and you got to get out of it, because otherwise you're going to be. She uses the hyenas, I think. Yeah, the hyenas, same thing. I mean, and she says that she will give you the signal, and you will know, get out of it fast. Yeah, and it's that kind of thing. That's what we do that's what we do a lot on the workshop, is how to find that balance. So that I, as a woman, can protect myself. I don't need a man to protect me, It'd be nice to meet a man who can protect me.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I give the man the okay to protect me. I'll allow him. I say, okay, you have earned the right to be my protector. But also,
that's very gallant, isn't it? Like a I will let you in. It's like a moat. Like, I suppose, like a castle.
It is like a moat. Yeah.
I'll let the drawbridge down, and you may come across. Type of thing.
Of course.
It's very elegant, isn't it, in its beauty?
Yeah. Yeah, I allow you to come in and protect me because you're physically stronger, and that's great. But I can perfectly assert myself if I need to. And also, how does a woman get to this place, and that takes a while, where you can, with that same guy, you can say, you got the job, Buster, but if you, there'll be you'll get what they call in a company where they do this, and they check how you're doing and they monitor you. What is that?
I don't know.
It's like a performance review. There we go. Performance review.
Okay.
So you're almost going, your performance review will be in 6 months and we see how you do.
You've got to keep him on your on their toes, haven't you?
Yeah, but this is the thing, and this is the trap a lot of women fall into because of the conditioning. Because they're conditioned, to believe that if you're just a good girl, if you're a nice girl, I get this so much. Dimitri, I'm such a good person. I'm so caring. I'm so lovely.
I hear this all the time as well.
You hear that as well. Yeah, there we go. And then this guy, we went out for a while. We had great sex, and then he left me. And I'm like, I was seeing this guy, and I was doing everything for him, and I was so caring, and I'd listen to him, and he doesn't respect me. And that's the trap they fall into. A lot of women fall into, where no, you have to develop the skill to protect yourself, the fierceness, and then you can let the guy come in and protect you, and you can sit back and relax.
But why don't they respect men? Not all men, I have to say. But I have another friend actually, and she is a classic for this. She's actually divorcing her husband now. Because she said, I gave him everything. I gave him my life, and I gave him children, and I gave him money, and I gave him love, and I gave him sex whenever he wanted, and everything I gave him, and he still went. And he didn't respect me, she said. And he actually, the more nicer she was to him, I don't know whether this was just one of those things, he wasn't nice to her. He didn't treat her very well. What is that?
That's I think it's human nature. It's human nature that, it's if you don't command respect, and if you don't test somebody, and I find women do that. A lot of women do that. They give. I mean, men do it as well. It's not just men do it as well. But because women have the feminine, the caring side to them. You become mothers, and that. So that the mothering thing is there, isn't it? The caring thing is, and it's in you. Yeah, it's inbuilt. Yeah. What I find a lot of women don't check. They don't. So you meet a guy. It's got to be 50-50. Relationships. Another one of my kind of things is relationships only work when it's 50-50. Give 50, I get 50. Yeah? So if you meet a guy and you start giving 70 and then increase it to 90 by the sounds of your friend, and then you go to 160, you give. You haven't checked whether the other person is going to reciprocate. It's human nature for people to, a lot of men, a lot of people will take advantage of you. You're setting yourself up in a way to be taken advantage of.
It's sad, isn't it? But it's very true.
It's sad, but it's true. Yeah. I mean, so this is when I talk about, you give a bet, you do a test. You give a little bit, you see how he's doing. Oh, he's responding well. Then if he doesn't give anything, you sit back, you watch. Okay, this guy doesn't give back. All right, then you can either give a bit more, give him a second chance, give a bit more. Oh, he still doesn't give back. Oh, wow, great. Here we go. And then you bring it up. You go, you know what? I gave you 2 sweeties, and you ate them both, and you were smiling. Yeah. And you turned around and walked off. You didn't even say thank you, or you said thank you, but didn't offer me back my two sweeties at some point. And then you see what they do. Do they respond to that? Do they go, I'm really sorry, I was brought up, I was very spoiled as a child, and my mummy spoiled me, whatever, and I haven't learned how to reciprocate love and give back, but I'm willing to try. Okay, then maybe you can give him another chance. But if he doesn't respond or gets angry about it, or why are you questioning me? Well, then you know that guy's got to go, or that person's got to go. You don't really want them in your, whether it's a friendship circle, whether it's a relationship, do you? Mimi?
Well, this is very wise, actually, Dimitri, because I could now put that on so many levels with so many people that I know, including myself, because I have a little tendency, I have to say, that I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I put it, and this is just with friends and family now that I'm talking about, is although it could be even people, I don't know, it could be plumbers and electricians and what have you. I always like to see, I like to see the good in people. And, we were talking earlier, and maybe it's my, I don't know, ideal world sort of sunglasses that I've got on all the time. But I have learnt the hard way that that's not the way it is in life. Because when you give, and it's not about giving to receive, but you can't let people not respect you. I think this is the key thing that you've made a really good point. If you don't respect yourself, no one else is going to do it.
No, and the psychological side to that, Mimi, is that what I say to, clients I work with or in workshops or if I'm giving a talk is that it's also where you end up, because what's going to happen, if the power struggle, if the power thing is not 50-50, if it becomes 70-30, the person who's in the 30% range is going to start feeling down about themselves, is going to start feeling used, you start feeling bad, and then and then how do you look at yourself in the mirror and actually explain to your self-esteem what you're doing? So a conflict then will start inside you, which then leads to you possibly becoming passive-aggressive. Then you might say something to the person in an indirect way, or it comes out sideways, and then they're like, well, what's wrong with you,
Yeah.
But you're the one that's in the right. But because, you know what I mean?
I know.
You end up, so maybe, so it has well-being implications, in terms of how you feel inside. We also know about all the psychosomatic stuff. So you don't really want to be taking yourself down that road. It's not a pleasant road to go down.
No, it isn't. It isn't at all.
But actually what you said is so important, Amy, that actually a lot of people are aware of it. It happens so quickly sometimes. And this is why on day one also, or when I'm working one-to-one or in the workshop, we always do assertiveness comes after conditioning. And I do an actual exercise with personal space where I get people I say, can you, for example, show me where your personal space is, draw a line. And then the other person has to walk into the person's space. And you'll be surprised. It's on the women's workshop. A lot of the women will say, no, I'm assertive, Dimitri, I'm fine. I don't need this. I tell people off. And I say, well, do you mind still doing the exercise? No, I'm fine. I say, come and do the exercise. Just do it for me. And they come up and they do it. And the person can walk right into their space and they don't even become aware of it.
Oh, my
And then
goodness.
I say, look at the line. For example, if it's, I say, Mary, look at the line. And they go, oh my God, where is the line? Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, oh my God. Some end up walking backwards, so as the person walks towards it, so it's like, it's really interesting, how confident we think we are and how confident we actually are.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the truth.
So,
I mean, we might, it's always the case. It's important how we see ourselves. But I mean, you might think, you look like a flamenco dancer when you're dancing, but in fact, that's not really the case, is it? There's a lot.
I'll give you an example. When I look at myself in the mirror, I look at myself and I go, "Wow, Dimitri, you're so gorgeous," And for a few seconds, I think I'm Brad Pitt, but I know I'm not good looking as Brad Pitt. I mean, so it's like, it's that kind of thing. It's like, it's
But it's good to think good about yourself, isn't it? It's not about not feeling good, because the friend of mine who's getting divorced. Again, you're going to tell us about your Fierce Feminine workshops, because I am really interested in that, because as soon as she ended it with her husband, she had a different image. And she said, now I'm going to be really feminine. I said, but weren't you feminine anyway? No, I wasn't. But now I feel my femininity. And I thought, that's the part I didn't understand, because I thought, but you are a lady, you are a female. How are you not feeling it? And suddenly that he's left, you're feeling feminine again. What is that? Is that part of reclaiming back that feminine energy? What is this? Tell us about this fierce feminine and what you teach the women.
So the reclaiming the feminine, yeah, beautiful. So what that's about is about being able to be in a space where you feel powerful. In what way? The feminine tools are very powerful if you can allow yourself to embrace them. But like I said before, the first stage is conditioning. We need to understand that conditioning. We need to let go of stuff and see what we're feeling after that. A lot of women in the workshops feel a lot of anger afterwards. They feel anger about what's happened to them, or how they've taken on society's viewpoints about things and all family stuff. So first that, then we use the anger and we build up the fierce, and then we turn it into assertiveness. So that's first. Once that's done, it then becomes about, then women will naturally just fall into their feminine, and they start feeling more sensual, they're more confident. Then they can experiment with that part of themselves and become, they suddenly realize they're intuitive, they're quite intuitive. They start using that. That becomes a very strong tool, which a woman needs to fine tune and be with, because that guides her. That's like a relationship guide. It's the men guide. It's that compass. What kind of guy is this? Is he a mommy's boy? Is he a player? Is he Yeah, is he an emotional kind of distant guy? There's different types of men. And then the big one with femininity is the sensuality, to be able to be in her central. So women want to feel that, because then they feel themselves. When they're in their feminine, they feel themselves. Yeah? Yeah. So your friend obviously was probably in a marriage, and she probably had lost her feminine. She had lost that feeling, because, in a marriage, you've got to work hard. You've got to work really hard to bring back the magic, bring back the passion. So that's, so maybe she realized she was with a guy she didn't want to be with, her husband, it wasn't working anymore. And then that, did not allow her to be in her feminine. So as soon as she comes out of her marriage, she starts feeling very, very herself and very feminine. The question is, how does she maintain that feminine? How does she strengthen it?
Yeah. How do you maintain it?
Well, she needs to maybe build on. Is she quite assertive, or is she?
Not at all. She's a complete doormat.
Okay, doormat. There's the word. Okay, that magic word, doormat. Yeah, I love that word. Yeah. So she's going to have to do the work on the other side first. She needs to go back to working on the assertive. Yeah. Otherwise, what will happen is that if she's just in this feminine place and there's nothing to protect the feminine, the first guy the first player that she might come along, the first guy that's quite seductive and charming and just wants to maybe have sex with her and have a good time, he's going to be able quite easily to get her into, to get what he wants from her.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah. Also, Mimi, also part of the feminine is also the intuition side. Very important. And that stops, helps a woman hold back from getting swept off her feet, and getting swept into something that's powerful. It might be a man that she's very attracted to, but the intuition is what holds her back. It's like, oh, hang on, this guy, is he really into me? Does he really want me? What do I want? If I want a relationship and this guy just wants to have fun, and I don't question that and stop things and say, hang on, boy, hang on, let's have a look here. It sounds like you want to have a lot of fun, don't you? Yeah, and you have a lot of fun with quite a few ladies. Well, I'm not that kind of girl. You want me, you're going to have to put a bit of work in,
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Yeah.
And Dimitri, your workshop, well, you do several, don't you? You do also a true masculine one.
I do. I've done less of those, but I'm now starting to focus on those two. I ran one recently, funny enough now with the whole coronavirus thing. I had somebody from a members club approach me, and I did one for the men. It was quite interesting, the male workshop.
How did that go?
Very different to the female workshop. With women, we can really get into a lot of stuff and deeper stuff and more emotional stuff. It was interesting. I think a lot of the men, there were. I actually did a talk. Let me take you back a bit. I did a talk at the UK Dating Fair this last year, and there were about 60 men in the room, and I did a talk. And what I found is that a lot of the men were actually felt quite intimidated by women. I mean, they didn't quite know how to be with them, how to be themselves around women. And they would go into this kind of trying to, not quite control, trying to deal with it in a way that's quite, I'm a man, I'm quite like, and a lot of the times what they wanted to do more was go into a more kind of still confidence, like a kind of softer confidence, where you can just be opposite a woman, talk to her, see how beautiful she is, see how lovely, dynamic she is, but be with that, and then, and just hold back a bit and talk and let your personality come through. A lot of the men will get quite nervous. So my work there is to help them find a more true confidence of what it means to be a man, and that vulnerability is okay. It's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to, not live up to this prototype, which for men is big, is really big, and men feel shame easily if they don't fit into these stereotypes. So yeah, that's the work I'm doing around that. So I'm going to be doing more men workshops, I think, as soon as things settle down with the virus. As I said to you before, I'm not too keen on the whole do workshops on Skype because I need 2-3 days. But I might do a few. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, adapting to the times, so to speak, as we've all had to. What can you do? But once, hopefully, it settles to wherever it's going to settle, then you will be doing actual physical workshops. And how many days are the workshops, Dimitri?
What I do is I start with a 2-day workshop. What I've done up to now is a 2-day workshop on the weekend. And then what I say to the participants, I say, this, you're going to have to work on this. It doesn't happen in a weekend, So I suggest, I strongly advise and say that do the next 3 follow-up workshops. Those are important. I also add to the mix, once you've done those, if you do 3 to 6 sessions of one-to-one, it's also important. But it's different for everyone, Some people do the workshop and they're okay. Usually I found that the work is most effective when they've done the workshop and the 3 follow-up sessions, Mimi. That's when, because then they come back, they see that they start using the concepts, they start putting them into action, and they come back, and we can fill in the gaps.
And there's a good base, isn't there? A good foundation to work from.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a good base and foundation, yeah.
And do you see a huge difference, Dimitri, of when, for example, we'll talk about the fierce feminine, because you've done more of those. Is there a difference in the women once they've done this workshop and done the one-to-one? Can you actually see a huge change?
Yes, there is. There's a massive change. I mean, I think there've been workshops where on day 2, I just feel when they come into their energy, into their feminine energy, and it's incredible. You just feel them. They're glowing. I can feel it. Yeah, and it's such an honor to have done that work with them.
It must be amazing for you that you've now, set, in a way, set somebody free to be who they really are. Yeah.
I mean, I've guided them, and they do the work, and it is. It's a beautiful feeling. It's really satisfying.
It's a beautiful work. Now, I want to ask you, and I always wonder this, do you use your techniques that you teach other people in your life?
Yeah. Techniques, I work on myself a lot. I chant, I have Reiki done on me. I've done a lot of personal development myself. You know what I mean? To become a psychotherapist, you have to do loads of therapy anyway. So I constantly do work on myself.
And what is because I know you said to me earlier that you do chanting and meditation, and what sort of things does the chanting involve?
Well, chanting is it's a Buddhist, it's a Nichiren Buddhist type practice that you chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, and it helps you to change your karma, as the Buddhists say, and to reach your unlimited potential as a human being, which is fantastic. So like when I chant, I sit there and then I can, I say, now with the book that I'm writing, I want to get going with the book. And so what you would chant is that the book, I write the book in a way that, that I'm inspired to write a book that's going to affect and change the lives of as many women out there as possible. Same when I do the True Masculine book, that book is going to get out there and it's going to affect and change the lives of all the men. So I'm kind of in accordance with the book's written in a way that it does that, it gets out, and it adds to my great goal and mission of helping people in that way.
So this book, what's it going to be about, and when is it going to be complete?
Now you got me.
Or is that the $64 million question, so to speak?
I've done the chapter headings, and I've written the outline. And one of the chapters. So I just need to, I'm hoping, depending on how much work I have, and I'm setting aside time now, I'm hoping that by the end of this year, that book will come out. That's what I want.
Wow.
The Fierce Feminine one, yeah.
The Fierce Feminine. And that's going to be a little bit about what we spoke about, and what else?
A lot. It's about what we spoke about, and there's going to be case studies of women that are going to that have agreed to allow me to use their material and discuss their journeys on how they actually went from seeing me to now married. Some have children, others are in relationships that they wanted to be in. How they ended up with the man that they wanted to be with. That's kind of what it's going to be about.
How wonderful.
Yeah,
a little bit like a fairy godfather.
Fairy godfather, yeah. But in the real world.
Yes.
My first workshop, I actually called it Prince Charming. It was called Relationships in Reality, Prince Charming in the Real World.
Oh.
That was, it's funny, you said that about the reality of the real world, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. Absolutely. I love what you do, Dimitri, because
thank you, Mimi.
We were speaking earlier, and there is such a power to being who you really are and allowing this beautiful river of intuition, and I don't know, it's this river of life that each one of us has been given separately, but somehow we belong to this huge ocean, ultimately, don't we, of humanity.
That's my feeling as well. That's a lovely way to put it. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful way to put it, yeah. We're all in, and we kind of, and each river goes into the ocean and we all kind of feel all the other rivers. It's interesting, yeah.
And unless I'm okay, you can't be okay, and vice versa, because we have to all somehow raise our vibrational frequency to be able to allow this momentum, this river, to reach its final destination. So we all have to work together somehow. So that's why what you do is amazing.
Well, it's also very much, it's, the Nichiren Buddhists talk about, our own personal human revolution, and how it's linked to everybody else. The more we work to empower others through our goal, to our mission, then it comes back to us.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one, but they very much, the chanting is to link up to that whole system, to link up to your higher self, and then to the higher selves of everybody else in this collective unconscious, and incredible things happen. It was through the chanting this year that I kind of actually made my first short film, which I thought was going to be, I've got all the stuff that I'm doing already.
Yes, amazing stuff.
And then somehow in all that, I managed to shoot this film and get the people together, and what that's like. Oh my God! So and then I made this film about intimacy, and I hope it's what I intended it to be. My editor's just doing the final colouring.
Oh, okay. So it's not. Is it going to be released?
It's going to go to the festivals. Yeah.
What's it called? Are we allowed to know?
Yeah, it's called No Exit.
No Exit. Okay.
It's about
And what is it about? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's about a couple that I wanted to look at intimacy through a couple, and how. So this couple. They end up deciding that they deal with intimacy in different ways. So the female wants to get married, get to that point in the relationship, but she's not quite sure about are they truly intimate, but she's not aware of it either. And the guy, he also wants to. He wants to he's not sure either. So what he suggests is to bring in a third person. So they bring in a third person into the relationship, and they decide to experiment. And what happens is they all three have an experience where they're all changed, and then they realize where they really are in the relationship.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
And what they bring in a third person, a male or a female?
They bring in a female.
And what? The female's involved with them intimately?
Yeah, intimate. Well, they attempt to be intimate. They want to explore that, but it all goes wrong. It all goes very wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's called No Exit.
No Exit. Yeah.
And it's coming out when?
Well, it's going to be sent to the festival. So as soon as it's finished, it's actually finished now. So it's edited. I think it's just some of the sound design left to do, and then we're going to send it to. There's a festival doctor who's going to take it and send it to the festivals.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
well, let's see how it goes.
Look at how much wonderful things you're doing. It's amazing.
Well, yeah.
Is that to keep you out of mischief, Dimitri?
You know what it is? I think I just feel very. I need to be doing stuff. I need to feel productive. It's kind of. I feel great when I'm productive, and it's just things I want to accomplish. You have things you want to do, you want to get done, and then, I think if human beings had their own way, we'd all be sitting on a beach somewhere sipping cocktails. But we do have, but the things that I want to do, and they're important. So.
And are these things, Dimitri, things that are deeply connected to you? Is there must be a reason, of course, but what is the reason that you want to make a difference?
Because I think the whole universe is based on an energy which I think is a love energy. That's what the whole, the energy in around us and everywhere is about love, and I think that's how we feel fulfilled as human beings, is when we give. And for me, that's quite strong. So within our purpose, I think that's how it is for me. That's there's a spiritual kind of thing. It's a bit of a spiritual thing, like that's the way I'm wired, I suppose. So that is. It's just like I think we all here, in my way, we all here to do something. We all here to reach our full potential, and reach our full potential by affecting the lives of others. In a positive, beautiful way, and that's my That's how I feel about it. So, I mean, irrespective of whatever job you do, I think if you're doing it with that in mind, you are doing something amazing.
Whatever it is that we're doing, I think if we're doing it with purpose, I think.
With purpose, yeah. Everyone is, I mean, it's, but of course, there's also understanding that we are humans and we have our frailties and we have and we got to keep working on it, and part of getting your thing out there is you've got to work. It doesn't just come to you. That. I mean, you got to, like with your podcast you're doing, it takes work. It doesn't just happen.
I think everything worthwhile, Dimitri, anything that you do in life, it takes dedication. If you want it to be successful, not talking even monetary, in any way, even if it's on a goal for a spiritual purpose, it doesn't matter. Even with chanting or meditation or prayers, whatever it is, it takes discipline, and it doesn't come easy, as they say.
No.
But I've often found, I don't know about you, that what comes easy isn't really worth it. It's what comes with difficulty is really the real treasures of life.
Well, I'll give you an example. On the film set, when we shot this film, it was so interesting because the script, the parts were quite, the parts that I wrote were difficult. It was a difficult film, and being a psychotherapist, I'm going to write something that's quite deep. It's very layered. So everybody was saying, the film's going to come out great. And actually, one of the lead actresses in the film, she had such a transformation just playing the character she played. I remember after the movie, she came up to me and she said, "Guess what? I just broke up with my boyfriend." She was telling me about him before. I don't like him. He doesn't respect me, and all my friends, So she actually had a massive breakthrough, and then she, now she's gone on. She's lost weight. She got a new job in the theatre. It's fantastic, So I thought, wow, because you think, I want the film to be good and this and that, but actually it's not about that. It was actually people transformed on the set. So I thought, wow, that's interesting.
It's anything that you become part of somehow becomes a little bit part of you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like you said, we were, but people worked hard on set. We did long days and long, so. And doing and getting all that and putting everything into place for that to happen, I think that was hard work.
Is it something that you've always wanted to do, Dimitri, is to be a filmmaker as well?
You know what? I was initially aware that I loved psychology and I loved people and I was interested and I wanted to understand everything about people and psychology and how things work. And then the acting came, actually, people would say to me, Dimitri, you should try some acting, you're quite funny and this and that. But, people say things to you and you're like, you go, yeah, okay, yeah. And it was during my training as a psychotherapist, actually, where we got into a lot of, where I explored myself a lot more because you have to, you've got to go to the edge of the earth, the depths of the earth and back, it's like and that's where I realized I'd really like to be able at some point to express myself through that medium and my ideas and stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of how I became more aware of it. Now it's about doing all the other stuff and making it happen.
But it still has the same thread going through it, isn't it? It's about helping people rediscover themselves and...
Yes. Yeah, hopefully, people will watch the film and they'll be able to relate to one of the characters and have an experience. That's if we've got it right. That's if it all works.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have to come back again when it comes out, and it's at all. Yeah.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, we can talk about the film.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be wonderful. About the film. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the same thread that runs through it. It's, I hope people say to me, "Oh, Dimitri, that film made me think." That's what I said to the director when I speaking to Katja. She's a Dutch filmmaker, and she directed it. And she said, Dimitri, what do you want to do with this? And I said, well, I want people to see it and say to me, okay, great. I really thought about this. I thought about that. I thought about my own relationship. I thought about intimacy. I thought about, and if 5 people come and ask me that, then I'll be happy. It's a result for me. That's kind of, yeah. But I don't know, Mimi. We'll have to see when it comes out.
We have to see. Are you actually in it, Dimitri?
I'm in it, yeah, I'm in it.
Oh, are you the main character?
The male is the male, and I'm one of there's 3 main characters. Yeah, there's 3, the 2 women and the man.
Well, now we have to see this. Are we able to get? You're going to have to send me something.
I'm not sure I should have mentioned it today. I'm not sure.
No.
I've trapped myself. Oh no.
Well, what would happen if you did. So I'd like a preview, of course, a preview that you can send to me. Like a premiere. Is it a premiere?
Yeah. It's like we can do that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
would love to do that, and I'd love to have you back on to talk about it and tell us, of course, how it goes and about your film. And as we come to the end, I mean, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for coming on today. It has been so interesting, and I could have 1,000 more questions for you because
we could go for a while.
We could. And that's why I'd love, please do come again and share much more of your wisdom and the things that you're doing, because it's such an interesting subject.
Well, thank you so much for having me and giving me this space to talk and talk about things that I love doing and that make me very happy. Yeah. And I'd love to come back.
Wonderful. We will arrange it. Now, I always ask my guests at the end, firstly, though, where can people contact you and also find out more about the workshops, the Fierce Feminine and the True Masculine? And I know that you do boot camps and other workshops and one-to-one coaching. Where can people get hold of you?
So I think the best place to get hold of me is on my website, which is www.dimitriosraftcounseling.com. They can read there. There's a section for women, for men, for couples. They can read what I do. So if they Google Dimitrios Raftopoulos, it'll come up my website. And then there's a page on Facebook that I have called The Relationship Revolution, where the workshops are on there for women, for men. They can look at that as well. There's testimonials from women who have done the workshop in the past and how they found it and how it's changed their lives. There's those 2.
And you do one-to-one coaching as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. I do one-to-one.
On the phone therapy. Or in person? I mean, I don't know how it works.
Everything's on Skype now. Maybe with the coronavirus.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, everything's gone online. So until things are safe.
Further notice. Okay.
Yeah. So they can get hold of me if they want to through my website or through my email, dimitricounselor@gmail.com if they want to.
I will put a link anyway, as I said to you, so that people can get hold of you and find out more about the work that you do, and if they want to become clients, etc. Now, as we come to the end, I always say this: what advice, Dimitri, and words of wisdom would you give to the listeners out there that have helped you in your life?
I would say that this is a journey. This life that we're living is a journey that we have chosen. This life that we're living, if we can use that metaphor, that if you can take accountability in that way and realize that you're on a journey of self-love, but self-love doesn't just come with reading books and just talking about stuff. That find something, a practice, whether it's yoga, whether it's therapy, whether it's workshops, whether it's, I don't know what it is, and work on yourself. Don't be afraid to go into yourself and look at yourself and look at your shadow and look at what's there. And, because we all are dealt a hand of cards when we're born. No one has an easy childhood. Everyone's got issues. Everyone's got stuff, and it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you human. So find something to work on yourself, and don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to look at your wounding and be with it, and you'll find that will actually liberate you, and you'll find strength in yourself that you thought you never had, and your mission, and do something amazing that we're all ourselves are changed by, and it'll bring out your potential, So don't be afraid to look at yourself and go into yourself, that's what I would say to people. That's what I've basically done, and
we should put that somewhere, Dimitri. It's such beautiful advice, the journey of self-love. How beautiful. Thank you for that, truly, because it is so precious, isn't it?
So precious, yeah. So a lot of people blame themselves, a lot of people, feel they bad, or they, got something bad. Or like you said initially as well, you were saying when you introduced the podcast, is, and it's okay to be flawed, basically. We all are, and there's also a lot of beauty in there, but it's kind of, we've got to clean out, polish the stone, clean out the conditioning, and then that gem can come to the surface.
Oh, how beautiful. I love what you do. I do. I really think it's...
You have been amazing today. Thank you. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to learn to take the slugs. You're giving me a lot of lovely hearts. So lovely.
Oh, it's really heartfelt because I think we need to tell people more about if we think what they do is amazing, if we think they are wonderful, we need to tell people that. People need to hear that,
I think they do. I think they really do. And that there's a way to you can get to a place, like for men especially, men can, there is a way to express yourself. There are people out there, there are professionals who will listen to you, friends will listen to you if you open up and talk and just take that risk. I know some men feel very vulnerable about opening up and talking about themselves, but if you take that step and you take a chance and just talk about your feelings, give it a go, it can be quite liberating. Always good to do it with a professional, It's good to do someone who can really help you and guide you, so you can really learn how to do that and feel comfortable with it.
And you're happy, aren't you, Dimitri, for people to contact you?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All over the world, It doesn't matter, because this goes out everywhere. So even if, you have someone, I don't know, from Timbuktu or from the States or from Australia, it doesn't matter, because you can help anyone from any culture, which is an interesting thing that we spoke about earlier.
Well, living in London, it's so multicultural, isn't it? It's every culture, every race,
everything. Everything and everyone. Oh, thank you again, Dimitri. It has been a pleasure, and I wish you all the very best with your film and your book and your workshops, and we'll have to do a workshop together for sure.
Yes, let's definitely talk about that. Corfu, lovely.
Corfu, yes, beautiful Greece, beautiful Greek
people. Oh God, don't remind me about the beaches and the sea. And oh my God, what are we gonna do?
It's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Something
so
beautiful.
The energy of the sea and oh God.
I've never seen anything like it, I have to say. It's idyllic.
Yeah.
And having a coffee. And
have you had the Greek coffee, the frappe?
I drink it every day, actually.
Oh really?
Yes, yes. I drink it every day, and I have it in the copper the copper coffee maker that you have, and
All right. So you make the small, the coffee.
yeah, the small
can
ones.
you,
Yes, the really
small one.
strong
Yeah,
one.
that's the hot coffee. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah, I love
Yeah,
doing that.
I do have that, and I have halwa as well. With the
Halwa.
pistachios. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
in love
Oh my
with that
God.
since childhood, actually, because
Oh
my
God, fully
parents had
Greek.
Greek friends, and they owned a Greek shop, and
Okay.
I would
Oh
have
wow.
all
So you know
things
all the
Greek.
little
Yes, I know
delicacies.
it
Yeah.
all.
Oh,
It's Greece is very close to my
gotta
heart.
do it.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you, Mimi.
I wish you a beautiful life, whatever you do. And I'm sure you are making a huge difference, Dimitri, to people, and continue shining that light of yours.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll speak soon.
Talk soon.
Okay, then. Bye.
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 Mimi.
Bye. Bye. Dimitrios Raftopoulos. A fascinating subject and an absolutely fascinating guest. I am so intrigued, really, by so many things in life, and I now have the privilege, especially on this podcast series, to share with you some of the wonderful people that I know and some of the wonderful guests that come on. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you all very beautiful moments. Until the next time, take care and lots of love.
Thank you for listening to Secrets for an Inspirational Life, brought to you by your host, Mimi Novic. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast and see you in the next episode. For more information about Mimi Novic and her books, music, and inspirational work, take a look at her website, www.miminovic.co.uk.